Okay, I guess we are live. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa
Wa alaikum
rahmatullah
salam.
to you, Brother Imran, and to those who are, mashallah, eager to get into the show, waiting for weeks and weeks. By popular demand, mashallah, we're back. We just see some comments coming in, inshallah. Already, alhamdulillah, bro. So, Imran, I think a lot of people saying salam to you, bro. Sister
Wa alaikum
Ayman saying
salam.
salam.
Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam to everyone.
Tagging going on, alhamdulillah.
This is
So,
it's been a while, man, since Ramadan, subhanallah. But
subhanallah.
we are here, alhamdulillah.
It came and went, bro. It came and went.
Went fast this year, very quick.
SubhanAllah. So whilst everybody's coming in, I'll give some quick intros then, bro. If it's okay with you, inshallah. So brothers and sisters, or sisters and the odd brother, alhamdulillah. In Ramadan, we had this show twice a week on the weekends, and it was very interactive. I'm sure, Imran, you agree, it was very interactive. A lot of questions. We covered the topic, and I think that's how it should be. Shows should be like that. It's not a lecture. It's not a lecture series. It's not training. It's a show, so that it has a mass appeal. There's various objectives to the show, brothers and sisters. So maybe those are your first time, but alhamdulillah, we went really well, and by good demand, by some market research, there was a demand for bringing this back, mashallah. So we're gonna do this twice a month, fortnightly, not every week. Perhaps things will change in the future. So some of the objectives of the show is so that people understand, and hopefully you guys will come in regularly. There's a few objectives. There's a multiple objectives, and that's why it's a show. One is that it's open for everyone, I think. And again, Imran, if you disagree, no problem. But I think this will, because it's the internet, because the public platform, we will expect, and non-Muslims are welcome. They are welcome to come and ask questions about the purpose of life or Islam or anything. Yeah, Muslims are welcome. And Muslims who are practicing and non-practicing, so those people who are looking for inspiration, some advice, some nasiha. So it is dawah, it is islah, and is nasiha. So it's a bit of a mixed bag, and that's a good thing like that. And that will create a lot of topics, a lot of discussions, because we've got our people from all over the world, alhamdulillah, especially Pakistan, India, alhamdulillah. So the other thing is, we're gonna talk about more about motivation, why people should get involved in dawah, how we should be seeking knowledge and getting to know Allah, because how can you call to something, or how can you call to someone that you don't know about, someone yourself? And we're gonna do general discussions, inshallah. So before we do start, bro, I want to give a very quick reminder for me, you, and everyone else, but especially me, inshallah, as we always say, and it's not a cliche. So the reminder is this. The reminder is about Jannah. It's about paradise. For any non-Muslims, it's about paradise, which we Muslims believe that is going to be something that we really want to get to, and we really strive hard on this earth to get to. So Ibn Qayyim, one of the greatest scholars of Islam, he's known as a scholar of the heart. He said this, a few lines, it's not too long. He said that when the people of Jannah will reunite, they will remember all the times they spoke about Jannah in this world. They'll look back and laugh at how short life was, and then smile, because beautiful is their final abode. The people of paradise will have all that they desire. One step into Jannah and they will remember no pain. They will say they never suffered. They will say they never cried. Oh, how much we long for that moment, the moment where we reunite. We hug our loved ones once again. We forget all the pain and thank Allah for all the tests that we went through. How strange does it seem that these tests, which weigh a ton on our chest today, will one day elevate us. Elevate us so high that we will thank Allah. We will thank Him for testing us. We will thank Allah for testing us, for loving us, and for giving us more than anyone could imagine. A place of eternity, vast, beautiful, peaceful. Everything one can desire. Be patient, O beautiful slaves of Allah. For our Lord is more merciful than a mother is to her child. And that's in Al-Fawaid. So, yeah, Jannah. That's what it's all about,
bro.
Alhamdulillah. It's Ibn Qayyim, bro. He's a don, mashallah. So anyway, bro. So so assuming some people, it's their first time on their show, for this show, the Dawa show. Mashallah, they know you from Epistemics fame and IRA and Dawa training. So going back to basics, because you do, mashallah, tackle a lot of in-depth subject sometimes, alhamdulillah. So I think the first question, bro, and I want you to make it personal, and inshallah I'll come in as well, is why are you involved in the dawah?
Yep.
So what are your reasons? What keeps you going?
That question is
a tough one.
Well, look, it is a tough one, I tell you, and it seems like a simple question when you think about it, because whenever we do something, reasons are very important. Why we do something is very important, and that normally is very clear and it's consistent with most things that we do. But one thing you'll notice when you're involved in the da'wah, when you're involved in the da'wah for any length of time, is that reasons, motivations change, they get refreshed. You lose them, you get them back. It's an ongoing journey. It's an ongoing challenge from that perspective as well, because being involved in the dawah is not an easy thing from every perspective. Because you're doing something which is totally it's working totally against the work of shaitan and what shaitan wants to do. So the evil forces, if you like, are always on your case, on your back. So you have to keep on top of yourself, and even your motivation dies down sometimes. Even your reasons for doing things, you lose them sometimes. But what we need to remind ourselves of, and be positive, although I wanted to still put that out there, but be positive as well at the same time, and keep in mind something you mentioned at the beginning, which is very powerful, is just to remember why you're doing. Fundamentally, you're doing this for the sake of Allah. You're doing this to please Allah, right? And to attain Allah's reward, and His one of the greatest reward that Allah has in store for us is Jannah. We want to attain that place where we will get literally everything we desire to have in this life. The things human beings chase in this life, they're all in store for you in Jannah, right? But they're looking for it in the wrong place. And Allah has let us into some knowledge which we wouldn't have had if it wasn't for revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And He's let us in on this knowledge, and He's informed us, and He's reminded us that if we are patient, if we do the best we can, if we do good things, especially if you're involved in the work of dawah, bro. And I'm telling you, wallahi, bro, when you look at some of the stories in the Quran, and you look at the rewards for giving dawah, the people that gave dawah, the rewards, their specific rewards, and we're not talking about prophets here, we're not talking about messengers here, we're talking about normal people. It will blow your mind, and it will remind you of how much potential reward there is in this work, bro. And that should really inspire us and keep us going, even through the rough times. It's and to be honest, bro, everyone, sometimes the biggest excuse for people is I've just got too much going on in life. My life is too busy. I've got too many tests. I've got too many trials. I'm busy. I'm doing education. I have a family, etc., etc. But we have to remember that no one is free. Everyone has their own trials and tests and tribulations. We just have to do the best we can with what we have in our capacity, inshallah.
Excellent, bro. Alhamdulillah. So we'll explore that in later in the show and the upcoming ensuing shows as well. So I just want to also explain the purpose of this show, because it's hopefully, inshallah, our intention is correct. Hopefully we've done enough du'as and we've renewed our intention, but it's not easy. It's a tough thing. It's one of the biggest battles of the humankind, right? But the intention is that it's not that because me and Imran were sitting around and we were having tea on a afternoon, it's a rainy day, oh, let's just go on the internet, oh, let's just get let's get some more likes. No, the point is there are many shows online. There are many reminders online. There's many series online on YouTube, on Facebook. But I don't think there's many shows that are dedicated for the dawah. I mean, Imran would argue epistemics, but I would say epistemics has a particular niche. You could argue atheism and contentions against Islam, and informing and educating people on a different level. But this is more, you could say, making dawah popular, making dawah appealing, and giving practical tips, hopefully, inshallah, because I think there's not many shows that will give you practical tips. So hopefully we'll give enough motivation to get involved in calling to Allah. But then the question which will come from people is how? What do I do in this situation? How do I speak to this person? What do I do in this situation? There's multiple scenarios. And one of the things we touched upon in Ramadan, although I love street dawah, I love stalls dawah, I love campus dawah, but it's not for everyone, and it's not the only way. So, I mean, it took me a few years to understand that, and now I do. So there's multiple ways, wherever you are interact with human beings, you can call to Allah. So that's one of the, I think that's what we're covering this show. We will also, brothers and sisters, we're going to have, inshallah, different guests. So today is just me and Imran, and maybe someone else, maybe the producer will come in at some point. But we'll have other guests, inshallah, coming in. Possibly people who are special in their field. So Imran, we were discussing earlier, some with the brothers and sisters, what kind of shows we can have, and some of the titles are very interesting. Like we're gonna have one show dedicated. It's called Debating Decorum, like how, the art of debating in the Dawah. When should we debate and when should we not? And the whole discussion of debating, because people think it's only debating, and then other people think there's no debating. So we can have a show on that. Celebrity da'is. This is something to do with the nafs and the fitna of da'i and celebrityism. Why are we doing it? The world of apologetics, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Right. Another question that comes up again and again. I want to join IERA. I want to join YC. Do you really join an international organization to call to Allah? So we can explore that. I want to be a speaker. I want to be a speaker like Flan. Is speaking the only way to do dawah? Do you have to be a motivational speaker, or are there other ways of doing dawah? So these are some of the topics and many more coming up, inshallah. But what we'll do, we'll take some questions because we want to make this interactive from the outset, inshallah. So what do we got? I want to be a speaker like Imran Hussain. There you go. I don't know if that's a question or just a joke, but I think we all do.
Hopefully it's a joke, bro.
Want to become. We all want to become.
I hope it's a joke.
Can't. It's hard. Imran's more calm.
Yeah, only if you guys knew what I have to deal with, bro.
Yeah, sorry, that was a joke by me. Sorry, that was a joke by me.
Oh, it was a joke by him. Alhamdulillah, bro.
So you don't want to be like Imran.
But I think it touches upon something very important, which is a lot of the time when people want to get involved in the dawah, they always think about wanting to become a speaker, right? Or wanting to do training courses and wanting to do YouTube. And to be very honest, bro, that is not the mainstay of the dawah. Honestly, I don't know. It's sad. I've been thinking about this past couple of days. There seems to be a gap, a hierarchy that we've created inside our minds when we look at the dawah scene and we see people speaking on YouTube and doing talks and lectures and being a part of big organizations, and then we see people doing street dawah or exhibitions. And we, in our minds, for some strange reason, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just the way things work today. But we have this hierarchy that the guys on YouTube and doing talks up here, and the guys doing street dawah down here. That is so wrong, bro. It creates the wrong paradigm. And we need to remember, it's actually like this. It's like this, right? Hopefully everyone's on the same level. And if anything's gonna skyrocket someone, it's that sincerity and doing it for the sake of Allah. Whether you're literally cleaning the toilets of a dawah organization, right? And it's something we need to remind ourselves of, man.
I was going to say, so there's some da'is out there that you never ever heard of, and they've probably got so many shahadas and so many like new Muslims that they're supporting under their belt, and those new Muslims are staying Muslims. It's not just about a flash in the pan, going in and giving the dawah and leaving. No, there's some people out there that actually are so dedicated to the dawah that you've never probably heard of them, but they're very strong in their dawah and in their new Muslim support and developing new Muslims.
And that's another reason why we got this show. We're going to try and bring those brothers. We're trying to convince those brothers to come online, because these are the examples we want. We don't want we can. It's not wrong to be a YouTube superstar. It helps, it inspires, but we want to give a balance. We want to say, look, that's one way, but then there's all these other brothers and sisters who are, mashallah, working hard, and they've been doing it for a long time. So but bro, Imran, what you said is something very. I've had rants on this. Sir's gonna go. And Sir, there's a question. If you can put it back up as well, and we'll come to that. This one. So he's
like the Dawah genie, bro. Sir's like the Dawah genie of the show. He just pops in and out, whatever. There he is again. Look, someone rubbed the lamp.
So absolutely, bro. Especially, look, I'm going to speak from Pakistani point of view, because I've been there. I interact with people still there, still interacting with them, and every time the word dawah comes up, it's YouTube, certain names, probably you as well. And I'm joking. YouTube names or Speaker's Corner, and that is it. And it's always like refute, destroyed him, destroy.
Yeah.
He whipped him, he rinsed him. Like what? Like it's all like attacking. So this is actually this is what people think about dawah, subhanAllah. And then when you study, subhanAllah, when you think of dawah, you think of the ayat, the beautiful ayat where in Surah Fussilat, where Allah says,
I'll be honest. I'm at the point where for one thing, I'm in my 30s now, and another thing is I'm starting to really feel like there's a lot that's wrong with the Dawah scene at the moment. There's a lot that's wrong, yeah, and I'm not pointing the finger that way. I'm starting with myself. There's a lot, trust me, that needs to be rectified. And to be honest, we're responsible. Yeah. Those people involved in the Dawah, we're responsible for it. And it's unfortunate. I don't think a lot of the time we think about safeguarding the Dawah, and we think about how we need to protect the Dawah and how we need to ensure or keep in mind that this is a great responsibility, and keep in mind that our words, because bro, let me just mention something quickly if you got 2 minutes, bro.
Yeah.
Something we completely undermine, and something we need to keep in mind, especially in the times that we live in the times of social media, in the times where every single person on the face of this earth can become a spokesperson, a global spokesperson, just through a device in their hands.
Yeah.
Bro, we have to keep in mind that Allah has made us human beings, insan, with the ability of bayan, intelligent speech. That means, bro, the words that come out of our mind, out of our mouths, those words, they have such great weight. Potentially, they can change the direction the world is going in, literally. Yeah. I mean, if you look at any great movement, anything that's been a standpoint, a moment of significance in history, bro, the idea arose always in someone's mind, and then it was actualized through their words and their actions. So we have to be very careful with what we say, and especially when we're involved in the Dawah, bro. We have to be extremely careful about what we're saying, how what we say is going to impact Muslims and non-Muslims, you know, and just be vigilant. And I'm just reminding myself of this because I've made many mistakes. I still continue to make mistakes. You know, the other day, may Allah bless him, Hamza corrected me on something else, which I was overlooking. You know, and we need to have this type of relationship where we can really sort of help each other and support each other, and also take care of the brothers and sisters thinking of getting involved in the Dawah to some degree, so they don't fall into the same traps that we fall into, inshallah.
You're making some amazing points, and this is really good. It's a good start, so we can get in, because we want to, on the one hand, we want to make Dawah popular. We want to make it appealing, because in an age where it's more appealing to become a YouTuber, it's more appealing to do other things in community work, but not Dawah. And this is something. So, but at the same time, you're right. If you're going to come in, you need to come in with the right mindset. You need to come in with your heart in the right place. And it has to be, as we say, for the pleasure of Allah, seeking the face of Allah. That it should be just like our role models were the Sahaba and the Prophet ﷺ. They weren't there for, you know, subhanAllah, for likes and fame. They spoke against it. The Salaf talk about fame all the time. Again, just like your words, bro. If only we knew. Let's take some questions, bro, because we don't. We can revisit this again and again. So, how to respond to someone? Sister Ariba says, how to respond to those who tell us to improve ourselves first, so that we become worthy of calling people to Allah. It doesn't need a response.
Well,
I would agree with, in this stage, I would agree with them.
Well, look, my thing is this. Yeah, no, as a general thing, it's a good thing to always keep in mind, right? It's not something that you do before you come into the Dawah and then you forget about it. That's the mistake many people have made. I made that initially when I got involved in the Dawah. I was young, I was careless, I was reckless, I wasn't aware of how things work. It led to a lot of problems for myself. So, and I've seen other brothers that have suffered from this too. It's something we should keep in mind all the time. Self-improvement is something we need to always keep in mind. Before the Dawah, during the Dawah, and inshallah, we continue the Dawah, but if we ever leave the Dawah, after the Dawah too. But the thing here is that I think what's wrong is this idea that you have to reach a certain maqam, a certain, as Johnny would say, a certain level of I don't know, some sort of spiritual knowledge,
like
that before
29,000 subscribers on YouTube or something. Is that what it is? Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I don't think
subscribers.
There's no validity to that claim. As a general point, it's important to obviously keep yourself in check and ensure that you have a good grounding in your basics, and you have a good head on your shoulders, and you have a decent level of emotional intelligence, and then Bismillah, make a start. But keep on top of yourself and keep improving.
Excellent. I would also add to that, just quickly, that Dawah, for me, and this is me and other people, when you understand it properly, it is also a means of always improving yourself, right? And when you're into the Dawah, you need to improve yourself even more. As a general Muslim, if you're not involved in Dawah, part of our deen, our principles of life, is to always check ourselves, as Ziabai says, check yourself before you wreck yourself. So that's something, you need to, it's part of our deen, to always reevaluate what's the state of my heart, are there diseases, what can I do to rectify this, am I doing the extra ibadah, am I being close to Allah, So this happens. But the other way of looking at this is, for those who want to get involved but they've been advised not yet, improve yourself first, you have to ask yourself the question, when will you know that you improve? Like, is there a specific date and time? I always use this like a slightly joking way, but like, is it like, oh, from December the 29th, 2020 at 1:39 a.m., I'm ready. I'm now improved. It doesn't work like that. This improvement will go on until your day you die, subhanAllah, you know? And even then, you never know. So improvement always happens. But dawah can be also a way, if done right, of way of improving yourself. I always use this, brothers and sisters, yeah? Like, you know, when you're calling to Allah and you engage with a non-Muslim, or if you engage with a Muslim that's got doubts, or someone who's got addictions or whatever, your conversation, at least 50% of it, or even more, should have the name Allah in it. You are constantly talking about Allah, worshiping Allah. Allah is one. Allah is Almighty. Allah is Ghafoor. You know, this is what the discussion. It can't be about laws of Islam. It could be, but that's apologetics. It can't be about morality in general. It has to be Allah. So the more you say Allah, the da'i, it should hit you. And I don't know if you've experienced it, Imran, and I'm just giving the sake of inspiration. May Allah forgive me. But there's times when I'm out in Pakistan and in the UK, when you speak about Allah. Especially name, and by the way, one topic we're going to cover, bro, inshallah, is using the names of Allah in the dawah, using the 99 names of Allah and attributes in the dawah. We'll have a whole show to this, inshallah. And when you talk about it, when you talk about Allah in awe, it affects you. You benefit from the conversation when you walk away. You're not a non-Muslim. You benefit. You're thinking, oh my, subhanAllah, what a conversation. So I think that's enough points in that, inshallah. What else we got?
Can I add to it?
No. Yes, you can. Of course
He's
you can,
back.
bro.
Someone robbed the lamp again.
Yeah, but that's sensitive, banda,
Okay.
yaar.
So, what I wanted to add to it, right,
yes, please,
is that I get where you're coming from, but I do, and I agree with you when you say that there's not a specific date where you can go, okay, now I'm a dawah, now I'm a da'i. But I would say one thing. I would say that a person should be grounded, at least in a few things. And that is that, I mean, look, I take from what the scholars have said, Sheikh Uthaymeen, when he says that when it comes to conveying the message of Islam, you don't have to be a scholar, okay? But you have to have knowledge on what you do convey. I also take on board what a lot of my personal teachers, what they say is that in terms of dawah itself, and when you're, you know, getting involved in something like this, a person should have certain groundings. So a person should be grounded in their fundamentals, for example, their understanding of Tawheed, for example, their understanding of their aqidah, their belief system. They should have and the thing with these things is that it's always going to be a learning, you know, it's progressive. You're always learning about these things, and you're always developing yourself on these things. But I do think it is important that you should have those foundations should be strong. Not for anything else apart from, even if for the simple fact is, strengthen your foundations, because it strengthens your own iman, your own conviction when you're giving dawah to other people as well. And Allah knows best. That was just my 2 pence on the issue.
I don't think you can disagree with that, bro. So alhamdulillah, jazakallah. There are other comments coming through, bro. I think I saw some brother Hisham say, I've got a question. So Hisham Sharif, bro, you know, ask your question. It doesn't have to be dawah related. And if we have the answer, we'll answer it. Otherwise, we'll ask those who know. Sorry, yeah, go on. Ismail is answering.
So no, this Ismail's in relation to the question. Dawah is for ourselves first, and then for others to benefit. Dawah is supposed to strengthen our own deen and faith first before others. So yeah,
there's a way of looking at it. I'm not going to debate, but I want to say first. I don't believe in the first business, yeah, but you know, it's all good, alhamdulillah. So what else we got? How to be consistent in dawah. So yeah, mashallah, Imran, you've been involved for 8 years, 9 years, maybe more. What makes you consistent? Because we've seen brothers and sisters get involved in dawah. In fact, we've heard a example in London where we had the 2012 Olympics and the famous 500 brothers and came out, and then over time it was just a handful of brothers in each city and town. So yeah, what's your to stay consistent?
Well, firstly, to be honest, I'm probably not the best person to speak about this, because I for one haven't really been consistent throughout the years. I had my own break for about 2 or 3 years, at least from social media, although I was involved to some degree. I think the most important thing to do is have something that, or some way you're involved consistently. So do something which is a basic action, which you're good at, which you're naturally blessed at, and just do that consistently. Consistently meaning as consistently as you can do it. So whether that means once a week, once a month, once every 2 weeks, just be consistent, be involved somehow in the dawah, right? So that's one thing I would say. For some people, to be consistent in the dawah may mean that they avoid social media as much as possible. And I know that sounds strange, but because sometimes people burn out when they spend too much time on social media, debating and arguing things, right? For others, it may be to just take out 1 day a week and just go join the local dawah team, right? Whatever fits your schedule, whatever you're comfortable with, just do something regularly and consistently, and be ready when you get involved initially. Be ready for the honeymoon period to be over. Yeah, that's one of the best advices I can give you. Meaning that initially there'll be a period, maybe a month or a few weeks of excitement. You're zealous, you want to go out and do the dawah, but realize that excitement and motivation is going to die down to a degree, right? And that's where it's really going to count, because now those factors which impact or affect your sincerity are minimized, because no longer you're not doing it to get a kick or to enjoy it or to have fun or anything like this. You're doing it hopefully for the right reasons, which is for the sake of Allah, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Just to give a shameless plug-in, which I don't do much, but I actually did a specific video on this, how to be consistent dawah, and I give a list of, I think, 10 or 15 reasons. And I think just want to quote from that really quickly. Just random tips, no in particular order. One could be that there's many variations in the dawah. Like, for example, let's say you were doing street dawah, and for some reason you're getting bored, or you shouldn't be, or it's getting too stressful, or you're losing that momentum. Try something else. Try social media. And like Imran, if you're on social media all the time dawah, then try the other approach, which is street dawah. Or write blogs, or do some research. Or there's so much in the world of dawah you can do. So try and vary it. Do a variation. Sorry, bro?
Yeah. Also, Nadeem, one more thing I will add is
go.
One more thing I'll add is, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. One thing I will add is just to sort of counter what I said earlier. There will be and there may be periods where you have to take off. Yeah. So be very real about it. There'll be times where you are burning out, and the worst thing you could do is just carry on without giving yourself a bit of a break. So sometimes it may be a good idea to give yourself a break, take a couple of weeks off, maybe a month off, with the intention of returning, obviously, but go with the intention of fixing whatever's wrong and then returning, inshallah, right? So sometimes it's a good idea to stop, take a breather, and then rectify some things and come back.
You know the reason why I'm smiling? Because I've got a blog on that as well, taking a break from the dawah. Anyway, sorry.
You're smiling because you rubbed the lamp again and the genie's out.
So I'll put a comment on there.
So I was gonna come on and read his own comment, which he put on.
Yeah.
Wow. Is that how it works?
No, because I wanted other people to see the comment as well. So anyway, but the comment, I think, in terms of being consistent, again, 2 pence here. I think this is a very. I think what you've said is spot on, and it's all about the moderation of your deeds as well. And this hadith is, for me, this hadith, like it exemplifies exactly what we're talking about here. So the Prophet ﷺ said, "Do good deeds properly, sincerely, and moderately, and know that your deeds will not make you enter paradise, and that the most beloved deed to Allah is the most regular and consistent, even if it is little." Yeah. So this concept of this idea of doing these regular, consistent deeds, even if they're small. So I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, I think one good way of doing this is making like a, I don't want to say a pact, but like a promise to Allah, right? In a sense, you go, Ya Allah, I'm going to give you this dedicated time. So I mean, we when the Dawah Soul, for example, I say, look, that dedicated hour and a half is for you, Allah. I'm going to make this for you, and this is only for you, right? So I put my phone away. I don't check messages, all that kind of stuff. I say, this is my time for you. So I think and you got to be easy on yourself. Everyone knows themselves better. So be easy on yourself. If you're not going to give the full hour, or you can't give 2 hours, maybe you can only give half an hour, but you're giving something that's consistent. You're giving something that's regular. That would be my 2 pence.
No, alhamdulillah. Excellent, bro. Jazakallah khair. So the questions are coming in. Sohail, it's up to you, bro. Whatever you want us to, inshallah, cover.
Yeah, give me a minute. Let me just scroll up.
There's some long comments as well. Good to see you, brother Sohail. MashaAllah.
Yep. Okay, where are we? Oh, here's one.
How to deal with atheists in fieldwork? Okay, so maybe however you understand that question, Imran. This is your
fieldwork. Give me some context, bro. Fieldwork. What are we talking about here?
I think just generally, I think if you generally talk about how to deal with atheists, and don't worry about the fieldwork bit, maybe the brothers can clarify, inshallah.
Okay. No, but yeah, maybe there's a bit of context to it. So if the brother can give us,
okay, if you meet an atheist,
we'll probably
on
better
the
be able to answer. In the fields, yeah. Okay, so assuming you're in village somewhere in Sialkot, and you're out giving dawah, and you come across some atheists, right? Hopefully, you wouldn't in those places. But nevertheless,
yeah.
Okay.
No.
Okay. So look, to deal with atheists is simple. Just try to. Here's a few tips to keep in mind, inshallah. Try to figure out what reason they are atheists. What made them atheists? Why did they adopt atheism? Right? Because we have to remember, atheism is not the natural default position of a human being. Human beings are created to know Allah and to worship Him. This is default. Human beings naturally inclined towards worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, recognizing Him.
Yeah.
Therefore, if someone is an atheist, they are an atheist for a reason. Something has gone wrong, which has disrupted the internal state, which has led them to this conclusion. So what you need to do is you need to figure that out. Best thing you could do is spend some time getting to know that person first and foremost. Make them feel comfortable, use emotional intelligence, learn about them, get some information about them. Sometimes you can ask them, okay, what was there ever a time you believed? When did you stop believing in God? Try to figure out what happened in their life which led them to atheism. What you'd realize in most cases, most atheists would come across as rationalists. I am an atheist for this X, Y, and Z rational reason, for this X, Y, and Z argument. But what you realize after probing a little, and this is why it's good to probe, is that rational guise or garb is something that was later added to the mix. Originally, them leaving God or turning away from God, there was other reasons. Emotional reasons, something went wrong in their life that they didn't understand and blame God. There's some underlying issues there. Try to figure those out. Unfortunately, what we do most of the time is we go straight into the Dawa conversation, give people what we want to give them without trying to understand what they're on. And
we assume what they're going to be like.
This is something we cover. Yeah. So this is something we cover in our Dawa training course as well. Yeah?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So this is something we do. This is something we cover in our Dawa training course as well, bro. Which is we get people to understand that we're talking to human beings and not robots. Therefore, we have to give them that time of day and respect to really try to get to know them, and then give them dawah. Right?
Yeah.
This applies to atheists and anyone else for that matter.
Yeah.
And what you realize, if you do this, you make things so much easier for yourself. Yeah. Sometimes you cut the chase and stay safe, wasting so much time discussing arguments and get straight to the point, basically.
No, excellent. Alhamdulillah. I think I was going to add what you just said there, that we believe that every human being his default position is not atheism. It's a theistic position. Their default position is to believe in a creator. He is one, and he deserves worship.
I'll give you an example, bro. I'll give you an example. Your default position is not to wear a hat. You're wearing a hat today for a reason. Something's gone wrong. Yeah, something has happened. Do you see what I'm saying? So maybe you want to give us some more information as to why you're wearing a hat today, bro.
I'm wearing a cap because the barbers are shut, and my hair was going crazy. So I've not done something which I've not done since 2009 when I was Umrah, is shave all my hair off. So
you took the lawnmower. Took the lawnmower. Can we have a sneak peek?
No.
Can we have a nice look? Quick look.
I'm not young like you, man. Young, handsome, beautiful.
But mashallah, you're more than beautiful. May Allah bless you and preserve you, bro. But look, here's the thing. The reason I mentioned this is because this is how we work.
Yeah.
Your natural state is something. If you deviate from your natural state, you're deviating for a reason, right? Try to figure out what that reason is, why people have deviated from their natural state and become atheists. That's the key here, inshallah.
I was going to add, Imran, is that, because we believe, like I said, we believe that everyone is born upon the fitrah, right? And the fitrah is to know that Allah exists, the divine exists, He is one, and He deserves all praise, glory, and worship. But what happens is obviously it gets covered, and it gets lost, it gets covered, and we have to trigger it. But the thing is, for us as da'is, to trigger that fitrah, the key thing is to get to know the person. That if you want to do the fitrah methodology, which is the best way of engaging dawah, because mashallah over the years we've learned to be changed and adapted. You've got to get to know the person. Which means, and something which I've been banging on about all the time, we need to rapport build. You need to get to know the person, because once you get to know the person, then you know how to apply which key to open and see which will work for them. So it may be rational arguments, it may be reflection, it may be spirituality, it may be a whole host of other things. So this is the key, brothers and sisters. I think this is something which is missing everywhere, not just in non-Muslim dawah in the UK, because I'm always thinking of Pakistan, campus, universities. People they see someone, and it's almost like we could see inside their heart or their forehead, atheist jara. There's an atheist, agnostic, atheist. You must be an atheist because the way you said hello. So they come and say, hello, what is this? Atheist. Like that's what's happening. And then what we do, and Pakistanis and Indians are good at that. They have the knowledge. Like I keep saying, when it comes to references, bro, they could probably reference your every single epistemic videos, LDM shows, GDM shows, all the way back to last 2014. They probably remember all the references, Justin Al-Barrett, Born Believers, Oliver Petrovic. They will know all the references, but they will just dump it on the person in front of them. And the person may say, well, you just spent half an hour trying to refute me. I want to ask, how do I become Muslim? Something like that. So we need to not judge. We need to get to know them, yeah. And once you get to know them, you'll know what to apply in that situation. You don't just give the whole. Because again, that goes to, we think there's only one way, debating and intellectual arguments and that kind of thing. But anyway, there's a lot of questions and comments. Today, I think Suhail Saab's having chai because he's not putting them up. Anyway, what is the difference between?
Here, bro. I'm here.
I knew he was gonna come.
Call the genie back. Where is he?
Sister Zikra says,
you summoned him.
What is the difference between public perception and reality of dawah? Okay, whatever you understand that, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure what she's.
I guess I get what she. Yeah, if I'm assuming, then the only thing I'll say in regards to this for now, maybe you can do a separate video on this. Or so. Actually, this is not something we should go into anyway. But
Well, hold on to this, Zikra. We'll cover this another show.
It's not. Yeah. Here's what I will say, and this will be a good point for people to keep in mind. When you come into the dawah, you see glitz and glamour. You think, wow, the art. They're the halal version of the rock stars and the pop stars, and especially in Pakistan and India, you get this, you have this perception. Because I remember when we went to Pakistan a few years ago, and we had some lectures in some of the universities. They'll put up posters the size of billboards outside the university campus, and you'll think, what's going on here, man? Yeah, but so I get that you'll get that external perception, but when you go in, you have to realize that the dawah it's not something. It's a serious job. It's something that you need to be serious about. It's not a joke. Yeah. And you can easily lose yourself in this whole mix, and it's very hard. And may Allah make it easy for all of us, inshallah.
I mean, so we'll cover this another time, and maybe Sister Zikra can give more details. Muhammad Al Thawadi, I'm going to pick a quick comment before we pick on whatever's on the screen. He says the best form of dawah is with action, because action speaks louder than words. Yusuf Essex, for example. Yes and no, but when I say no, I'm not being harsh. I'm being very nice. Is I believe, brother, we can't say what is the best form of action, because the best form of action is defined by the Prophet, the final messenger, and the Sahaba. And if you look at their example, he's a uswat al-hasana, the best example, right? And his example is that he was the best of manners, husn al-khuluq, the best of manners. He was gentle, compassionate. All the biographers, whether it's non-Muslim or Muslims, are united in this. He, as we say, is the most studied man on earth, probably ever. And not just studied man, but studied in detail. And we know the biographies of his companions, subhanallah. So much detail, and it could be argued no one else has been that much has had much more biography on. So when we study it, we'll see that he had the best of manners, but he also still verbally called people to Allah. He didn't before Islam. He was known as Al-Amin and the most trustworthy, right? And a Sadiq. He had the best of manners. The famous story when they fought against who's going to put the Hajjat al-Asad, the stone back in the Kaaba. and they said, who's gonna put the stone? Because they started disputing, and they agreed that the first man that goes past, he'll do it. And when the Prophet walked past before Nubuwah, they said, best person, this is the best decision. Of course, who else could it be? You know, so he's known. But even then, they didn't come to Islam because, okay, you know what, he's got the best of manners. He still had to call them to Allah. He still dialogue. He still discussed. There is invitation. There's verbal invitation taking place, and so we should have that as a grounding. For example, you build it up. You're in an office. You're in a school. You're in a university. You're in whatever gathering with human beings. You should have the best example, especially if you do dawah. Once they see that this person, he's got the best of manners, this sister, this woman, she's got immaculate manners. Wow. I mean, that's the kind of person I'll become friends with. Once the non-Muslim has that in mind, then when you call them to Allah, they will be ready to listen to you. They'll be their heart and softened. So manners, good manners and calling, rather than just the best of manners.
Yeah. Just if I could add something to that.
Yeah, go on, bro, please.
I think there's a very deep relationship between speech, calling by speech, and calling by action. Because when we talk about dawah being the best dawah being through action, we have to remember something, that when we're referring to this action, we're talking about through your characters, through the way you are and the way you behave. Now we have to also remember, when you call by words, by speech isn't in isolation. Speech is a medium that the human being uses, and therefore it's accompanied by action. Speech is an action from that perspective, right? When you're talking to someone, when you're conveying the message of Islam verbally, it's an action, right? And that action is entwined with the action of your character in that moment as well. So you have to keep this in mind. So meaning, inevitably they go hand in hand, and they link to a very deep level from the perspective of even when you're just speaking to someone and giving, even if we say, I'm just going to give dawah through speech, well, it's not speech alone. It's always going to be linked in with your actions, because when you're talking, your characteristics are going to be talking with the words that are coming out of your mouth. So you have to ensure that your actions from that perspective, your characteristics and your manners when you're giving dawah or conveying it verbally, are on point as well. It's very important.
As per the Quran and Surah Fussilat. Okay, so we got other comments. Sister Sayyida Neha says, how to liberate yourself from the fear of engaging in dawah. Yeah. How do you do that, bro? How do you liberate yourself?
Yeah, just look, so look, we have reservations sometimes psychologically. We have to remember fear, especially if you have fear of something that you haven't yet done, okay? You haven't yet experienced, right? So there's this, you can experience fears in two general types. Fear of something that you experience. So for example, if you see a lion right in front of you and you get scared, right? That's a fear, that's an actual fear. Then there's the type of fear where you have a fear of something that's not actually actualized yet. You haven't experienced yet, but you fear it. And if that's the case, you have to remember that that fear is something that you're projecting. It's you're thinking of a particular action in a certain way. You're thinking of a certain action in a certain way, or a thing in a certain way, which is causing the fear. So just shift the way you're thinking about it, right? Because what meaning you give something is up to you. Okay, so when you think of dawah, I'm going to give dawah meaning I'm going to be speaking to someone and telling them about Islam. That's the action here. Now the meaning you're giving to is, oh my God, they're going to judge me. They're going to look at me. They're going to think I'm a strange weirdo. I'm going to freeze up. I'm going to be afraid. I'm going to be anxious. And as soon as those meanings, you instill those meanings into the action, just in your mind, that fear is going to start creeping in and building up, right? But you have to remind yourself that this is a fear that hasn't happened yet. It's based on me giving a particular meaning to an action. So just change the meaning. Change what you think of it. No, I'm going to speak to someone because I'm going to be confident Allah's going to help me. You know, I'm doing something for the sake of Allah. He's going to be there with me. I'm doing the most noble action, and there's nothing to lose. Worst case scenario. Think about the worst case scenario as well. I think you mentioned it. What's the worst that can happen? Someone's going to laugh at you or walk away. Fine. Just think of that. Okay, I'm okay with that. And as soon as you're okay with that, that fear, the anxiety will disappear. Inshallah.
Bro, I'm really happy, mashallah.
And lots of dua, bro. Lots of dua. Lots of dua.
No, alhamdulillah, you fantastic tips there, mashallah. I love it.
I told you I'd listen to you, bro, and take things on board.
I'm really, this is why I'm smiling. But I want to also add quickly as well, is about the fear thing. Look at it this way, brothers and sisters. Look at it this way. Why do you want to fear something which will give you so much reward? Like the way I look at it, like you want to let the fear overcome the reward. Like we got the hadith literature talking about that the one who guides another, gets it's like getting the best of camels, and the one who guides another to a good deed gets the same reward. I mean, there's some beautiful literature out there. So you're going to let fear of temporary things stop you from gaining all that mass reward, and this reward can help you in the akhirah. This could be that one deed I mean, people are asking what keeps you consistent, why are we in the dawah. This is one of those things which I'm not going to say every day. I'm not astaghfirullah, we're not strong like that, and inshallah we pray to Allah that we become strong like that. But now and again I keep thinking that one of the dawah which I'm consistent in, inshallah, this could be that deed that gets me over the line. That dawah I did could be the one good deed that gets me over the line, subhanAllah. So don't fear. Don't let the reward factor overcome your fear factor, inshallah. There's loads of comments. So Oneza says, what made you get so involved in the dawah? When did you realize as to this is what you want to do? Okay, I'll go first on this time, and you can come in, bro. So I've had a very let's say not so straight line relationship with the dawah and the deen. So I did a training today with the team in Karachi, and I discussed that I was involved in the dawah before I started practicing Islam. That's the most weirdest thing, right? So this is like when I was 19 or 20. So I got involved in dawah straight away, and that was street dawah stores, very shy, very scared, fear, just giving out leaflets, hardly any discussions. Did that for a few years. Then went off it. Then when I went to Pakistan and I met Brother Hamza and Adnan Rashid, 2012, that's when they reignited the dawah back again, mashallah. They talk about how it's dynamic, it's wonderful. And I remember that, this is something which I used to do, which I observed, and I really enjoy it as well, subhanAllah. You can enjoy dawah because some people want to, study in depth. They want to study tafsir in depth, or hadith study literature, or they're going to go to Al-Azhar University or Islamic University, Islamabad, or Medina University and study something. That's fine, but you've got to do something which you're passionate and you really enjoy. You can sit down and read books. So for me, what keeps me going is actually I enjoy that. I love the interaction. I love to get to know people. So that's how I got involved. Alhamdulillah, then you start seeking knowledge. So maybe at first your intention is not the right intention, but then when you start, because that's the other beauty about dawah. The more you get involved, the more you understand that you need some more knowledge. And the more you seek knowledge, the more your intention gets clearer for the dawah. And inshallah, you definitely get the reward. So that's what kept me going, alhamdulillah, on a personal anecdote. Imran, what made you get involved? How did you get involved, bro? Did something happen?
So for me, it was when I first realized Islam is the truth, and I started practicing again, or came back to Islam. It was almost a natural thing where when you recognize something is true and it's so weighty, you need to share it with others, because you realize just like it helps, you can help others. So it's just a natural thing. I needed to share this with others. That was it. It was as simple as that, bro.
Absolutely, yeah. Something which you love, you're going to share. So, Hell, what made you get involved in that, bro? Was it AT? You said you got to come in.
No, so I'm going back a bit. Right? Do you remember Pal Talk?
Yeah.
There's this thing called Pal Talk, right? I'm going to go further back than Pal Talk. Remember Yahoo Chat?
Yes. Oh my God.
Right. So now I'm showing my age, right? So I used to go on Yahoo Chat, and I used to go in the Islam section in Yahoo Chat.
So right.
And I don't know if you were ever there at that time, but
my name was Disco Molvi.
Huh?
My nickname on Yahoo Chat was Disco Molvi.
I was Abu Isa. Anyway,
Okay.
right, anyway, yeah. I wasn't married. I didn't have any kids. But I didn't have any married. I wasn't having any kids, but that's what I was. Anyway, right. So I used to go in the Islam section, and it was absolute filth, right? There used to be non-Muslims that were in there, real haters of Islam. And I was just like, I had no idea about this stuff. I was just like, Yahoo Chat, Islam, let's go and have a look at what that is. And I went in those sections, and you saw so many people talking bad about the Prophet ﷺ, attacking the Prophet, the same that you have today.
Yeah, same
right?
thing, yeah.
But obviously, as a newbie going in, you just like, what the heck is going on here? So all of these, I had no grounding, right? So, and this is why when I talk about grounding, this is why I think grounding is so important. I had no idea about any of this stuff. they're talking about the Prophet of Islam, bad mouthing the Prophet of Islam, saying all these different things, and it actually made me doubt a lot about Islam. I had huge doubts, and I remember a whole summer of doubts because it was during that summer like holiday period, and I had so much doubts on Islam, and that's why I think when I talk about why I talk about grounding, it's important to have teachers and people who have got knowledge 100%. And that you can learn from. So I learned, but the way I learned was through some individuals that I knew, but also he's gone. But also I had some Dawa tapes from Sheikh Abdul Rahim Green and the likes. All right.
Yeah, so I know the other name that starts with F.
I started listening to these tapes. And subhanAllah, once I started listening to these tapes, a lot of these doubts started coming out of my head. And I just felt like, and it was all about, for me, it was all about understanding Tawheed properly. All right. As soon as I understood Tawheed properly, like everything else falls into place. Right.
Very beautiful.
And that was me and how so it was really, then I started just defending the deen. My dawah started is more of a defensive style, like defending against these type of people. Then we used to go to Pal Talk and we used to all do on the Pal Talk and all that kind of stuff, and then it moved to the actual dawah arena.
You made me remember also the dawah then. I mean, Allah accepts some of the efforts, but we made a lot of mistakes because of lack of scholars, because of lack of mentors around us.
There's an echo.
That's you, bro.
Yeah, I think it's you, bro, because we were doing it right before you came.
Mine's muted.
Is that better? Is that better? Yep. Okay. So when we used to do street dawah stores back in 90s, 98, 97, 98, 99, I remember, subhanAllah, may Allah forgive us. You know, if we see someone who says that he's homosexual or he's gay, our dawah used to be just take the mick out of him. Seriously, that's what we used to do. Where brothers on the stall used to take a mick out of him. Or if there's a Muslim brother that's wearing an earring and he just wants some inspiration, he's curious, we'll say, what's wrong with you, bro? Astaghfirullah, that's disgusting. Are you Muslim or what? So rather than inviting, we were just attacking. We were, if a woman comes and just asks a little question slightly harshly, we would start attacking her. So subhanAllah, that's because we have no ilm, no grounding, no scholars to this. And like you, bro, as soon as we start realizing, actually, you know what, we need, because a lot of brothers in my town, and this is a problem with a lot of areas, we used to just read books, because there's no scholars. To gain scholars, we need to travel to maybe London and other places. This is back in the late 90s. So, and then tapes was the other way. But if you don't have that, you just have books. But the thing with books is if you read it without any guidance, you're just going to become your own mujtahid. You're going to bring your own fatwa. Everybody's a mufti. And that's what happened to us. Although we were there, we were doing the action. But when I look back, subhanAllah, may Allah forgive me, man, I was really harsh. That wasn't dawah. That's ranting. And still a lot of people do that online as well, subhanAllah. So, alhamdulillah, with knowledge, with ilm, with the authentic scholars who follow the Quran and Sunnah and follow the scholars who came after the Sahaba, you can't go wrong. That's what you stick to. And there are scholars who still uphold that tradition, mashallah.
Yeah.
So, what's next? How long we got?
Okay. We've got about 8 minutes or so. 1 second. There's a few questions. 1 second. Let me just have a look. There's a comment here. Some people annoy, mock you almost every time they see you getting involved in any dawah project. Sometimes it's not possible to stay quiet and listen. If we answer them even politely, they're like, how come you get involved in dawah when you have no patience? You know what? Sometimes it's a case of just, you know what? Focus on what you need to do. Focus on what you need to do for the sake of Allah and just do it. Yeah, just get it done. Anyway. When putting on the Quran in loudspeakers in public places, is it not disrespectful as once someone listens to the Quran, it is wajib for everyone to stop and listen?
This is a fatwa, fiqh question.
This is Imran. Imran,
Yeah.
couldn't answer fiqh questions, can't you?
I'm in the middle.
Yeah, sure, bro. I'm the one that's qualified to do this, right? No, come on, guys. I have no clue, bro.
Maybe he's asking.
I don't know about the technicalities. Although practically, I can only tell you from an experiential perspective, anecdotal experiential perspective, which is I've seen brothers do this on dawah tables, and it has shown some very powerful results as far as people responding and coming over and asking what's this about, what you guys playing, etc., etc. But I think it depends on the area if you should or shouldn't. I'm just trying to think back to the times of the Prophet ﷺ, if there's any examples of where the Prophet ﷺ or the companions might have recited
Ibn
the
Masud,
Quran, where there was
when he went to the
non-Muslim.
Kaaba.
Yeah.
And
So
he got
I'm
beat-
sure there
and
was
he got
people
beaten
that,
up.
I mean, the way that, because if you think about it, the dawah of the Prophet, the companions, was the Quran.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they were reciting to people that weren't listening, that would thrust their fingers into their ears. And to be honest, some dalil comes from the life of Nuh alayhi salam as well, because he would recite and he would call people, and I'm sure he was calling people to what was given to him by Allah, and people would thrust their fingers in their ears and turn away from him, etc. So I guess if the objective is to give people da'wah, the Quran is da'wah from that perspective. This the message is calling people to Allah. Then for non-Muslims, if they're going to turn away, they're going to turn away. I'm not giving you a fiqh perspective on this. I'm just giving you a very practical perspective from the way I understand it.
Give him fiqh answers again. Go on. End it with Allahu Alam, so at least then you can.
Allah, yeah, absolutely.
Or make a disclaimer that you should speak to a scholar about this kind of questions.
Yeah.
Oh, you look, brothers, there's a lot of questions that have come in here. I don't know how you're going to answer them all in the next 4 minutes.
Yeah, so to answer your question, Sal, we expected a lot of questions. So what we're going to do, we're going to make a note of these. And if we don't cover it in this show, we're going to cover it in the shows that are coming up, inshallah. So brothers and sisters, your questions will be answered, if not in this show, but definitely in the upcoming show, which means you have to keep on coming back. And this will be a fortnightly show, by the way, yeah?
And
the
if
next show will be the 27th.
Maybe it's worthwhile typing your question out again, so that we do hit it for the next show, hopefully. Bring your questions early, because then we can, because I actually go from the top of the questions all the way to the bottom. So apologies if I didn't get to read your questions out or go through your questions.
I also assigned someone to take note of the questions anyway, so I'm lucky.
I'll just continue producing.
So look, brothers and sisters, on that, if we don't get through your questions today, it will be noted, and the next show will be on the 27th. Imran, you remember that as well, yeah? That's 2 weeks time. 24th. Apologies. Next one will be the 24th, Wednesday, the 24th of June at 7 p.m. So we'll cover it there. If not, then the next 2 weeks after that. So what else we got? Brother Hassan, what do you advise to those armchair da'is that criticize people who give dawah but don't get involved dawah themselves? I mean, they love Islam but are all talk and no action, unfortunately. I tell them to fear Allah. I know. Yeah, Imran, you probably get that because you've been to a lot of shows, and you kind of get hints they're doing nothing themselves, but they love to just criticize and become critical evaluators. What do you say about that, bro?
How I personally deal with it is, to be honest, I just zone out, bro. I don't pay attention. I don't give it, bro. We only have a limited amount of time in the day, and we can only get so much done. The times I feel the most frustrated, bro, at myself is when I've spent too much time wasted on things that could have been just left alone, and not focusing on things that should have been done. So I just ignore. Let's just say I've developed somewhat of a thick skin when it comes to the da'wah. I'm just good at tuning out, whether it's from an atheist perspective, because most of my hate comes from atheists, right? I just completely tune out. It doesn't, alhamdulillah, it doesn't affect me.
I would also, go on, bro. Sorry.
Yeah, but what I would say is just don't focus on it too much. But if you know someone that you trust, and you know that person genuinely is looking out for you, and they advise you, and you hate that advice in the moment, just see it as bitter medicine and really think about what they're saying, because what they're saying may be very useful to you, something that you're overlooking. So definitely, I'm not advocating be oblivious to advice. No, as Muslims, we should always humble ourselves and be, ready to take advice, but take advice from people that are genuinely looking out for you, and don't waste time getting involved in debates and discussions with people that just, I don't know, whatever. May Allah make you.
I think it's a good thing. I think you should look at it in a positive manner. I think that it keeps you on edge. It keeps you sharp. It keeps you to research further. It keeps you maybe to study more and maybe go back to your evidences more and maybe research more. So I don't mind that. Look at them as because it checks your intention as well. Because we're not here to please Him. We're here to please Allah. But the more they criticize you, it makes you. I think it makes you probably a bit more humble.
There's one thing I want to share that I recently tried to implement for myself. I'm still working on it, okay? Still working on it, but it's a very beautiful piece of advice that I got from the writings of Imam al-Ghazali, right? He said something phenomenal in one of his books in regards to sincerity. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, and this is what I got. He said, start to see people as inanimate objects when you're doing actions for the sake of Allah. Phenomenal advice, bro. Wallahi, I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, the more it dawned on me. One of the things I took from was this.
It's quite deep.
It's phenomenal, bro. It's powerful because look, one of the reasons our sincerity goes here and there and everywhere, and we find it very difficult to sort of do things only for the sake of Allah, especially public actions which are done in front of people, is because we are always, as human beings, worried about the perception of people, right? So whenever we're going to say something or do something, we're always somewhere in the back of our head are thinking, what are they going to think of me? What's their judgment going to be of me? How am I going to look to them? Now, if you start to see those people as inanimate objects, right? Then and therefore, what your mind's going to do is you'll realize that an inanimate object can't judge you. It can't judge you. So as soon as you remove that judgment element, bro, khalas, it's so much easier, and you'll be able to directly focus on Allah so much more.
If they become matter, they don't really matter.
It's a powerful thing, and it really helps for your sincerity. I'm not saying it's may Allah make it easy for all of us. Sincerity is one of those things that always it always evades you, sincerity. May Allah make it easy for us, but it's a very powerful tool to do away with some of that white noise, right? Which is, oh, what's he think of me? What's she thinking of me? How do I come across to them? They're just inanimate objects. I'm doing this for the sake of Allah. These people mean nothing in the grand scheme of things. No more than an inanimate object would mean to me. And that's the truth at the end of the day. But when you go to your grave, other people's opinions are going to mean nothing. They're going to mean nothing, right? So it's a very powerful thing to keep in mind. And I think it ties in with what we were talking about here as well, which is somewhat related to people's perceptions and stuff like this.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah, very beautiful. I can really resonate with that. Again, Imam Ghazali, subhanAllah, a master, one of our past masters. So I think we're going to wind up there, inshallah. There's a lot of questions, brothers and sisters. Please, if we didn't answer your questions or didn't read your comments, we will make a note of it. People have been assigned, and we will come back to this in the coming shows. The next one is on 24th of June. We will make your questions a priority, and then we'll go on to topics. So that's the format, inshallah, yeah? Because we want to answer your questions. If it helps you to get involved in Dawah, if it helps you overcome certain situations, then alhamdulillah, that's what we're here for. So you will be our priority, brothers and sisters. So please don't forget to tune in on the 24th of June. Put a reminder. This is on YouTube. So on YouTube, you can put the bell icon and notifications on all. And of course, if you're watching from Facebook,
can I do a bit of a shameless plug before you wrap up the show?
Yeah, please go ahead, bro. Of course.
Brothers and sisters, I thought the genie cut me off. He cut me off before that.
What kind of shameless plug is this?
No, I was just gonna say, if you guys want any specific content on atheism in particular, check out Epistemics. I have a lot of videos on that there, regular weekly uploads and live streams. So if there's anything you want from that perspective, Epistemics, EPISTEMIX. There's a lot of content there for you guys, inshallah, as well.
Excellent, alhamdulillah. So I think we'll end of this. Producer Sab.
That's it.
Yeah.
So,
is that a wrap?
Bro, we need to add a smoke effect. We need to add a bit of a smoke effect whenever we come.
End the broadcast first.
Let's do this. Something like that. So yeah, well, Jazakallah khair for attending. I hope it was beneficial. May Allah accept this as a form of ibadah, because we're not here doing it just for, because we're bored. We're doing it because we seek the reward of Allah, inshallah. And hopefully this show will grow and be a benefit for all the people who attend. So yeah, Jazakallah khair from me. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. Awkward.